إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ويقول سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان بكم رقيبا. ويقول الله سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. Dear brothers and sisters, in this verse that I just recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us, is commanding us to have taqwa in Him. To have taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because taqwa is the essence of our belief. It's taqwa that protects us, it's taqwa that will get us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in one of the ahadith said: من أصبح آمنا في سربه معافا في جسده عنده قوت يومه فكأنما حيزته الدنيا بحذافيرها. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned three blessings. Three blessings. Whoever gets up in the morning and he has peace and security, آمنا في سربه, and his body is healthy, wakes up with a healthy body, معافا في جسده, and he has his provision for a day, his food for a day, عنده قوت يومه. If somebody is blessed with these three blessings, it is as if he or she is given the whole world and everything that he has to offer. I will repeat. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned three blessings: al-amn, peace and security; نعمة al-amn, peace and security; نعمة health, الصحة; and the third one is to have provision for a single day. If you have these three blessings, you are blessed. And sometimes when we read the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, we don't really see the meaning of the hadith, or we don't really pay too much attention to the hadith. But when we put things in perspective and we take like some case studies, then we realize that these are real blessings. I'll tell you a story of a brother, and then we can realize that, these three blessings are very, very dear. And once we have them, we really should appreciate them. This brother had cancer, and he just arrived in Canada, one of the Syrian brothers. My neighbor, Canadian neighbor, who was one of the sponsors, came to me and said, we sponsored this family, but the father has cancer, and he has an appointment with the doctor, and we need a translator. We need somebody who can translate from Arabic to English. And she asked if I could go and help, so I accepted. So when I went, and I witnessed the conversation between the patient and the doctor, and what the doctor was proposing to the patient, then you realize that ni'mat as-sihha, or the blessing of good health, can be something that we take for granted, but it is, if you have that, it is really if you're given the whole world. So the conversation between the patient and the doctor, he was giving him his options. So basically the doctor was saying, anything that I'm going to propose to you is not going to cure you from the cancer, because it was like a very late stage. So he said, you know, you have a choice to have operation, to the surgery, and the surgery, what they were going to do, anything that was affected with cancer was going to be removed. So anything that cancer touched, well, we're going to just eliminate it. And the thing that stuck with me most were two organs they said they were going to remove. One of them is the bladder, and one of them is the rectum. Two simple organs that, you know, we don't even pay attention to. These are, we use them when we go to the washrooms, to urinate and for the waste. So he said they're going to remove this and they're going to remove that, they're going to remove. And then he said, you know, if they remove the bladder and the rectum, what they were going to do, they were going to attach two bags on each side of the patient, so he could urinate and he could do his waste, and it would be attached to him all the time. And I said, subhanAllah, these are two simple things that we don't even think about. And once you lose them, you're going to have a life, a very difficult life. Two simple organs. If they're removed, if you lose them, what life are you going to have? And I said, subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with so many things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try to count the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will not be able to. Yet we will look at just two simple organs and the importance that they play in our life. It's beyond anything that we can even think of. And this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibtila from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ankabut, ألف لام ميم أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين. This is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will be tested. We will be tested in this life. It is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ألف لام ميم أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. Do people believe that they will say, do people think that they will say, we believe and they will not be tested? Indeed, we will test them just like we tested the people before them. So, al-ibtila, this is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And another verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. There is tawkid. Indeed, we will test you. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ, some of fear. شيء من الجوع والخوف ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات. All these things will be tested, whether it's in our wealth, in our health, in our offsprings, in our businesses, in everything. We will be tested. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, and give the good news to those who are patient and those who are صابرين. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّ لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّ إِلَيْهِ راجعون. Those who they are afflicted with certain calamity, what they say, to Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. And another verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَتُبْلَوُنَّ, again, لَتُبْلَوُنَّ فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. لَتُبْلَوُنَّ فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ وَلَا تَسْمَعُونَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse again, He's saying that you will indeed be tested in your wealth and in yourselves. And you will hear from the people who were given the books of the scriptures before you, and those who do not believe, a lot of harm. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, فَإِن تَصْبِرُوا, if you are patient, you persevere, and if you have taqwa, that is the best way. So these are verses from the Quran. Verses from the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that will be tested. So the best way to deal with these tests and trials is to have sabr. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. And al-ibtila, you know, we have many lessons in the Quran that tell us that people before us, including the prophets sallallahu alaihi wasallam, were tested. And the test is according to your iman. يُبْلَى الْمَرْءُ عَلَى قَدْرِ إِيمَانِهِ. A person is tested according to his iman. The highest the iman, the tougher will be the test. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَشَدُّ النَّاسِ بَلَاءً الْأَنْبِيَاء ثُمَّ الصَّالِحُونَ ثُمَّ الْأَمْثَلُ فَالْأَمْثَلُ. The people, or the ones who will be tested the most, are the prophets and the righteous and those who comes after them. And when we look at the prophets, or the stories of the prophets, the first prophet, Adam alayhi salam, was tested in many ways. Adam alayhi salam, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created with his own hands. Can you imagine this honor? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala modeled Adam, created him with his own hands. And he blew in him from his own soul. And he asked the malaika to make sujood to Adam alayhi salam. Can you imagine this daraja, this honor, to be created with the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And you have the ruh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah ordered his angels to make sujood to you. It can't get any better than this. Yet, Adam alayhi salam was tested. He was tested when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Iblis, and Iblis whispered to him, and the result we know that Adam alayhi salam was kicked out of Jannah, and he came down to earth. Just that. Imagine you're living in Jannah, the Jannah that we all aspire to go to. It is our dream that we go to Jannah. Adam alayhi salam had that, and he lost it. Can you imagine you live in a mansion, for instance, here in this life, and you lose that mansion, you find yourself. Can I ask the brothers to please fill the gaps and move forward and make room for people at the back? Please move forward. Please don't leave any gaps. There is still room in here. If you could come in. So Adam alayhi salam, as I said, he had everything. But he lost that. And that is a test. And not only that, when he came to earth, he faced even tougher tests. Adam alayhi salam, in the stories of his two sons, Qabil wa Habil. Can you imagine, you're the prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have two sons, because nowadays we have issues with our sons, and we face a lot of problems with them. But Adam alayhi salam, the prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he had two sons, and what happened? We know the story. One of them killed the other. Can you imagine? Two sons of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they would end up one killing another? Can't even think about that. This is Adam alayhi salam, and he was tested. And we have many stories. We have Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam, Yusuf alayhi. The stories go on and on and on and on. And these are all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not tell us these stories just for entertainment. There are lessons to be drawn from these stories. And when people are tested, you have two kinds. You have people who are patient, and you have people who, when they're tested with something, they get angry, they get mad. I'll tell you another story of someone who was tested and how they dealt with the test. And this is a real story. Somebody, a friend of mine, told me this. It happened to him. I was going to Morocco, because that's where I'm from, and this brother asked me if I could take a gift to his mother. So I accepted. And before I went, he told me the story of his mother. He said that his father, when decided to get married, so he married this lady, and they saved like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not bless them with kids. Just didn't have kids. And this is ibtila from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who provides for us. It is He who gives, if He wants to give you offsprings, children, He can. But if He doesn't, then it is a test. It's how you deal with this test. So they waited and waited and nothing happened. So what happened next? His wife told him, we've been married for so many years, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not bless us with kids. Why don't you go and marry somebody else that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could probably give you the offspring from that lady? The man refused. out of love to this lady, he refused to do that. But she kept insisting and insisting and insisting. At the end, he accepted, and he got married to this lady. And a few years later, they had the second wife gave birth to two beautiful boys. One of them is the friend of mine that told me the story. And a few years later, the second wife got sick, and subhanAllah, she passed away, while the kids are too small. These two kids grew up in the laps of the first wife. And they grew up as calling her mom. And when I went, he said, take this gift to my mother. And she wasn't his mother, but he grew up, she is his mother. She faced a test with open heart and belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed her with two kids, not from her womb. This is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. If you have taqwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make ways for you. So these are examples, real examples, that I'm sure you can relate many of these stories. You probably have your own stories. But what we're talking about here is how we deal with things, how we deal with challenges in our lives, including the al-ibtila from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because as we mentioned in a few verses in the beginning, a test is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is how you deal with it and how you tackle that test that defines who you are and shows how your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And another story, and then I'll move on to the next section. Another man, again, he was tested. He was married to a woman, and she gave him a hard time. So one of his friends advised him, if you're having a hard time with this lady, why don't you just divorce her and no harm? And he said, I will not divorce her because I learned how to be patient with her. For the hard time that she gave, he learns how to be patient. أتعلم على يديها الصبر. And then he asked, why do you have to do that? He said, I fear أخشى أن أطلقها فيتزوجها غيري فأكون سببا في شقاء المسلمين. I fear if I divorce this woman, somebody else will marry her, and I'll be the reason for the misery of somebody else, of some other Muslims. And subhanAllah, there are people who think beyond, as we say, like out of the box. And in fiqh al-ibtila, أسباب رفع البلاء. When we are afflicted with something, what do we do? So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove this hardship from us. So there are a number of things that I'm going to mention, 3 of them. First one is taqwa. Taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know that whatever happened to you is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. Nothing will ever affect us except that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed. لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. And the Prophet ﷺ said, مَا أَصَابَكَ مَا كَانَ لِيُخْطِئَكَ وَمَا أَخْطَأَكَ مَا كَانَ لِيُصِيبَكَ. Anything that happened to you, it was supposed to happen to you. Anything that didn't happen to you, it was not meant to be. So we have to accept that. So at taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to have taqwa, and we have to have the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that when we are afflicted with something, whether good or bad, you could be tested with something good, with money for instance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a lot of wealth, a lot of money, and He will see what you do with that money. Are you going to use it for the good, or are you going to use it for the evil things? The second thing is a'malul bir, actions, good deeds, such as sadaqah, such as worships, qiyamul layl, siyam, doing good, helping the community, helping the neighbors. These are good actions, good deeds that we can do, and ask Allah to do them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask Allah to remove the harm from your way. And then the third thing I want to mention is a dua. To turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make dua to Him. And the dua, mukhul ibadah. The dua is the essence of ibadah, of worships. And we know the story of the 3 people who got stuck in a cave, and the rock closed the entrance, and how they got out of that situation is by making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the best of actions. the best of their actions. So this is a reminder to all of us that ibtila is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when we are afflicted with any sort of hardship, we should accept the fact that it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just we accept it as we accept the good. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Again, if I could ask my brothers to please move forward and make room for the brothers at the back. I can see gaps, so if you could just move and make room, please. Jazakumullah khair. So the second part of this khutbah, as our brother mentioned, we came from Guelph. We have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trust in the Muslim community that they will support our project. Project is the first masjid in Guelph, and we face challenges and we have difficulties just like any other Islamic institutions, because we know that in Canada we don't have what we call awqaf, mu'assasat that can support the masajid. We don't have that. All we have is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the generosity of the Muslim community. So this masjid needs financial support for renovation, for running costs, and to pay some of the loans that we have. And this is sadaqatun jariyah. It is a sadaqah jariyah, and we know the benefits of sadaqah jariyah. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, when a person dies, all his actions come to an end. All the actions will, no more prayer, no more fasting, no more good deeds. You're done. Except from three things. Except from three things. علم ينتفع به, and knowledge that can benefit people. ولد صالح يدعو له, a righteous offspring, son or daughter that will make supplications on your behalf when you pass away. And the third is sadaqatun jariyah, a sadaqah that is continuous, that will work on your behalf when you depart this world. And sadaqah jariyah is sadaqah that you give to the masjid, you give to a school, you dig a well that's going to benefit the community, something like that. So sadaqah for the masajid is sadaqatun jariyah. If you look at the three things that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, علم ينتفع به, and knowledge that can benefit people. This is not possible for everybody. This is probably possible for very, very few people. People who have the knowledge and people who they can leave something behind that can benefit people. And we have examples. Al-Imam al-Bukhari, for instance, he left us Sahih al-Bukhari. And this is going to serve the Muslim community till the day of judgment. This is علم ينتفع به. An example. We have Imam Muslim. Also, he left Sahih Muslim, which is going to benefit the community, the Muslim community, till the day of judgment. These are examples of as-sadaqatu, al-ilm alladhi yuntafa bih, a knowledge that can benefit people. Now the second one, which is al-waladu salih, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you with, kids. And some of them, they could be good, they could make supplications on your behalf when they depart. But again, it's not guaranteed. There is no guarantee that your son or your daughter will make dua for you when you leave this world. It's not guaranteed. Let's face it, brothers and sisters, we struggle with our kids just to do some of the basic things for us. There is no guarantee that when I leave this world, my son or my daughter are going to remember me and make supplications for me. So the only thing that is guaranteed to work on your behalf when you leave this world is a sadaqah jariyah, something that you invest yourself in yourself, which is to pay sadaqah to a masjid, to help build a school, to help whatever cause that can benefit the Muslim community. And anybody, for instance, if you help build a masjid, anybody who comes and pray in the masjid, you get sadaqah, whether you're alive or not. Anybody who comes and learn ayah of the Quran al-Kareem in the masjid, you get the ajr. You get the ajr from anybody who uses that place. And this is guaranteed, brothers and sisters. So I'm asking you, we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His support, and we rely on generosity of the Muslim community. So we'll encourage my brothers and sisters to give sadaqah jariyah fi sabilillah for this masjid in Guelph, inshallah. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا واسرافنا في امرنا، اللهم ثبت الحق اقدامنا، اللهم انصرنا على القوم الظالمين. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمه انك انت الوهاب. اللهم يا ارحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين، بارك في مؤسساتنا، بارك في مؤسساتنا وبارك في مساجدنا وبارك في أهلنا وأولادنا يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارحم آبائنا وأمهاتنا كما ربنا صغارا، اللهم ارحمهما كما ربنا صغارا، اللهم ارحمهما كما ربنا صغارا يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدنيا والآخرة، اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في أبداننا وفي أولادنا وفي أهلنا وفي أموالنا يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا وأقم الصلاة.